Well, greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today. Today, I have an interview that I am ecstatic to bring to you. This person is someone that I've looked up to for a long time. His interviewing skills are amazing. And not only that, but his journalistic and digging deep into things is just beyond belief. Today I have an interview with Shaun Attwood. Before we get into that though, a couple links. As you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, and my merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. The links to Patreon and PayPal are in the description below. My merch is displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters Volume 1, 2, and 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeffrey Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, the links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, if you'd really like to help this channel to continue to grow and go, just simply subscribe and click the like button. It's fast and free. Now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's get on with today's interview. Shall we? Hey, I have a special guest with me. I have Shaun Attwood, who I've been a huge fan of for a very long time. Shaun, how are you?
Jeff, it's an honor to be on your channel. I'm a huge fan of yours. And, you know, from what I know about what you've been through in your life, it's just so inspirational. And what you told me earlier, how you got this channel and your health was down. They said you had 10 years left to live. And then you suddenly started to gain your weight back through building a community and having this mission on YouTube. That is a miracle, man. I'm blown away by your story.
I appreciate that. I to be honest, when I joined the community, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I had a couple of experiences with paranormal, saw something when I was younger, and I didn't want to kind of follow everybody's footsteps, so I kind of just started doing my own thing. I've watched you for a long, long time, and I've been a huge admirer of yours just because of the things that you give back to the community. You really have an inspirational story yourself. Very brilliant teenager, and then you had a really bad time when you were, I'd say, middle-aged, somewhere around there, and then bam, out comes the Shaun Attwood that we know and love today. Can you kind of briefly tell us a little bit about yourself and what brought you to the YouTube community?
Yeah, so I went off the rails in my 20s after being a diligent worker in the stock market. And during the dot-com bubble, I made a couple of million. So that added to my sense of ego. I'm living in Arizona. My ego became as big as the Grand Canyon. And I quit going into the office and working slow and steady progress. I'd been following the stock market since I was 14, investing since I was 16. I abandoned all my slow and steady progress to throw rave parties and import ecstasy. And because I was in my 20s, no common sense, no emotional maturity, high testosterone, I just wanted to have fun and party, but it was misguided. And years later, I saw the harm that drugs cause to people. And that's why I go into schools and do all these talks now in the hope other young people won't make my mistakes. So in my 20s then, I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. I come over there because I got aunts. I'm out of England originally, banned from America for life now. And my aunt's houses were my base to get hired into the stock market. Did 5 years, 6 years. It was like Wolf of Wall Street kind of environment, power sales meetings, like drill sergeant guys telling us what to do. You're only as big as your numbers at this border for the month. Smiling brokers make the most money. Lunches for wimps. If you're having a lunch, other brokers are calling, all that stuff. So I was thrown in the deep end of it's like a baptism of fire of these feisty New York Italian telesales guys who were snorting cocaine off their desks and going to strip clubs every night. I'm thinking this is normal, you know, fresh out of university. This is what the business world is like. So when I made sufficient capital, I quit that. I was day trading the dot-com bubble, made a couple of million, but greed and ego and everything else took over. And I thought, right, I could just abandon all this slow and steady progress and start making money from the rave scene. And I was throwing raves. And then I saw the profit potential of getting the pills, bringing the pills in. And that's when greed took over, and I had to face the consequences when the SWAT team came, May 16th, 2002.
Yeah. It was.
You asked how the YouTube channel came about. So yeah. Going back to that, then in the jail, I think it was 2004. So I asked the guard how they got away with the conditions. I'm not saying jail should be easy, but this was Sheriff Joe Arpaio. We're talking America's toughest sheriff. Dead rats in the foods, cockroaches crawling over at night times.
How on earth?
Guards murdering mentally ill prisoners, and you can check that out. And check if you want to Google that. Brian Crenshaw, Scott Norberg, they killed a blind guy, the guards, and they paid out about 50 million in lawsuits at that point. So I said to a guard, "How do you guys get away with all this?" And the guard said, "The world has got no idea what goes on in here, and the public doesn't give a shit about prisoners." So a golf pencil, tiny pencil, sharpened on the door, I started to write everything down. And my aunt smuggled what I wrote out of maximum security Madison Street jail. This is 2004. Typed them up, emailed them to my family in England. My family originally were from in between Liverpool and Manchester in the northwest. They put them online as a blog, John's Jail Journal, Jon, not my real name, because my mum was terrified.
Right.
She knew about all these people who'd been murdered by the guards. So we didn't want, the guards to find out I was doing this. She didn't want us to do it at all, but we talked her into doing it just with my name change. So I didn't think, anyone would click onto the blog. And the Guardian newspaper ran excerpts, and the BBC, big media entity out here, ran excerpts about me living with the cockroaches. And the media's never stopped since then. And that was almost 20 years ago. So the blog started to go viral, and my dad started the YouTube channel in 2007, and I got released in December 2007. So it was in preparation for my release. I think one of the first videos we did on it was how to survive Sheriff Joe Arpaio's jail. So I managed to start the first prison blog. I managed to start the first YouTube channel. And it came about because I wanted to get the conditions changed for the guys I left behind, because previously I'd fought prisoners, lock them up, throw away the key.
Yeah.
The rapists, murderers, serial killers. That's what the media reports all the time, is extreme crimes on one side. And then on the other side, they say how easy they've got it. They've got PlayStations, gourmet food, luxuries. And it keeps the public hating on prisoners.
Yeah.
And it's a scam. It's a scam so that the government can get away with the horrors that they're getting away with. So at the peak of the war on drugs, and people can Google this, the highest arrest category in the history of criminal justice was weed possession, almost 1 million arrests a year. So when I got in there, I saw the average arrest was a black kid or a Mexican kid with some weed, not a dealer, weed possession, getting 2 to 5 years because they had prior convictions, so the sentences are aggravated. And then these private prisons are getting $60,000 a year per person. And it's drug and gang infested mayhem. There's no rehabilitation. They give them $50 on the gates. They have a nice day. That person, if they were a weed head, they've come in, they've been recruited by the neo-Nazi gang, the Aryan Brotherhood. So they've got swastikas and Hitler tattoos now. They've got a criminal record. They've gone from being a weed head to injecting heroin. Most of the prisoners were injecting heroin.
Jesus.
A load of them had hepatitis C, yellow jaundice skin, teeth right now. It's really sad. And it's by design, because if you give that person $50, and if it's a white guy, they're now a neo-Nazi with a criminal record and a heroin addiction. How on earth are they going to function in society? Within 6 months, they're right back. And I saw that as well. They just come right back, revolving door, $60,000, $60,000, $60,000. And those contracts now are in the tens of billions a year. So when that guard said to me, the world has got no idea what's going on in here, I said, I'm going to try and change that. And hopefully, my blog and my YouTube videos have woke some people up to. Because I understand why people don't understand prison. I didn't understand it because of the media. And I think people don't understand it till their kid calls them and says, "Mom and Dad, I'm in a cell with a guy who's got a padlock in his sock, who's threatening to rape me. I need $50,000 to bail out. Can you get me a lawyer? I got busted with some weed. They've seized your car." Until they get that call, people don't give a shit.
No.
A lot of them.
You really have changed a lot of people's perspective on prison and what it's like, because I remember, just seeing like on Netflix where you see, like English jails or Swedish jails and this and that. But hearing your horror stories in Arizona and how you were treated. I mean, you were a white collar criminal treated like a hardened blue collar criminal, and it was absolutely disgusting.
Well, I did deserve punishment. I just want to make that
Yes,
clear.
yes.
And I was importing ecstasy and putting people on that road of drug use. So I did deserve to be punished. Now, I thought I was just keeping the party going, getting everybody high, the rave scene, dancing all night long and that kind of stuff. I didn't see the horror of what drug use led to until I got in the jail.
Right.
So the whole day in the jail just revolves around getting the drugs in. Primarily heroin, and then secondary it was crystal meth, and now it's spice as well. You've even got the staff members bringing it in. That's the main way it's brought in. You've got visitors bringing in. So these guys then who've got hepatitis C, yellow jaundice skin, teeth rotting out, the livers are getting eaten up by it. They know they're going to die.
Yeah.
But all they care about is getting the drugs in and getting high. And I'm going to get to the root cause of that in a minute. So I saw the horror. The road of drug use is very long. You start out over here where it's glitz, it's glamour, the pleasure's high, the pain's low. But every time you take drugs, the pleasure goes down a little bit and the side effects rise. And those guys, the side effects was above the pleasure, and they couldn't stop. They knew they were going to die. They knew it was slow suicide and they couldn't stop. So I was ashamed. Now, living with people in the deep end of drug addiction for 6 years gave me the best education in the psychology of addiction I could possibly have had. When I was a kid, I was told a heroin addict is someone who lives under a bridge. They go out snatching granny's purses and stealing cars and burgling innocent people. They're like little trolls. Lock them up, throw away the key. Once I actually was living with these people and asking them their life stories, because people really opened up to me. And to this day, I've carried that forward into my true crime podcast. You get these guys come in, big tough guys, and they'll tell me things that they wouldn't tell other people. People really open up to me. I think I'm a good listener, or I cultivated my listening skills in prison as a survival mechanism or something. But I've learned that the root cause of the vast majority of crime is childhood trauma and paedophilia in particular. And these heroin users, they're never given the tools to deal with getting molested as kids. No one helps them, or they're thrown away onto the streets. Then they get into crime to support this drug addiction, because heroin is the drug that takes you out of your mental space where you're facing that trauma. So they've got these demons from the trauma, and they're feeding the demons with the heroin and blocking the trauma out. And it's really sad. I heard this so many times, and now I'm hearing it so many times on my true crime podcast. I am convinced that childhood trauma is one of the root causes of crime, and the government, they don't address the root causes of anything.
Yeah.
They just pretend to be tough on crime to get votes. Otherwise, the whole system will be completely overhauled. And thank God the public of America voted to legalize and decriminalize weed, because that's a major part of the problem.
Yeah.
Is the black market in weed and all that money going to gangsters and cartels. So hearing these sad stories then, a third of the prisoners couldn't read or write. More than half of my friends in prison were soldiers, come back from wars, PTSD, didn't get any help, so got on street drugs and crime and ended up in prison. I had a good education. I had a loving family. And all these people that I'm living with, they didn't have either of them. So I felt doubly guilty for committing my crimes. It wasn't through necessity. It wasn't through poverty. I had more money than common sense. So I started to help the prisoners. I was reading their legal paperwork. I was teaching the Mexicans how to write home in Spanish. Aryan Brotherhood prison gang had a problem with that. They wanted to get me smashed for helping another race because it's a violation of the rules of racial division in Arizona state. And then my cellmate, who was a crystal meth chemist at the time, he intervened with the Aryan Brotherhood, and I was allowed to keep helping the Mexicans. And then finally, you know, I asked the guard, how do you get away with all this stuff? And he said, the world has got no idea. And that's when I started the blog. That was in 2004. And the blog led to the YouTube channel. And it continues to grow from there. And I feel blessed for having these opportunities, for building communities like you of such good people who've just followed me and supported me through all the nasty campaigns to take me down. And those campaigns particularly began when we started exposing elite predators.
Yes, yes. That brings me into something. I actually did a video. I met a subscriber of mine who was a former Jehovah's Witness, growing up, and he told me about the dark, child abuse and just a whole kind of sex ring of children in the Jehovah's Witness church. I did about an hour-long video about that, a lot of research with him, and you know, I got some flack. I actually didn't expect to get as much flack as I did, but I had a lot of people who were like, "That's not how we are," and this and that, and I was like, "Whoa, okay." Um, you kind of nailed it on the head. Is childhood trauma and drug addiction go hand in hand. You then started to look at, after like your prison stories with helping, and then people turning and helping the community, you kind of started to look at like the elite, like Jimmy Savile, and Epstein and stuff like that, which kind of then, I guess, what people call conspiracy, but I call truth. Um, you got some flack on that, a lot of flack actually. I think
I'm still getting it. Still getting it. My internet service provider sent me an email saying just a couple of weeks ago, you've had an extremely rare denial of service attack, and you need to contact us immediately. So this isn't through emails or links. They went through the hackers went through my internet service provider to take my Wednesday night live stream down, called Attwood Unleashed. We do a Wednesday night live stream. This happened. They tried to knock my internet off, and simultaneously I got reports, notifications from YouTube, Google, saying that they were trying to take out of Indonesia. Hackers out of Indonesia were trying to take my entire YouTube channel down again. They did get control of my YouTube channel about 6 months ago.
Yeah,
and they were broadcasting. They did a live stream, had over 100,000 people on it. Crypto shite, and it took YouTube a couple of days to kick them out. I knew it was about to happen. I got on the phone with a live chat with the YouTube person, and I said, I've just been hacked. You've got to stop this right away. It took an hour for them to take all my information. By the time they took all my information, the hackers were already live streaming the crypto shite, and that was a nightmare. I lost about 15,000 subscribers over that, which YouTube couldn't reinstate. So that kind of stalled my channel for the last few months. But now we've got our Jimmy Savile documentary just gone up this week. It's turbocharging things back up again.
you've been working on that for a while now. With the Epstein thing, wasn't your channel threatened to be like taken down if you didn't stop talking about that? Or
It was taken down twice.
yeah,
And the reason given is cyberbullying.
okay, all right.
And they don't elaborate. They don't tell you specifically what you said.
Yeah, you didn't say anything. You were speaking the truth. It wasn't like you were making any kind of lies, or you weren't putting words into anybody's mouths. You were just speaking facts.
We're a true crime channel, and we were reporting on the biggest true crime story in the world.
Yep.
But our channel came like the go-to place because we'd interviewed everybody on it: experts, journalists, survivors, authors, cops, you name it. Anyone close to that case, even intelligence agency people like Ari Ben Menesh, we'd interviewed, and we had 60 million views on the channel. This was when I was at about 500,000 subs at that point, and that was half the channel, was those 60 million views.
Yeah.
So we got terminated twice, but God bless the viewers, because and the supporters, because they bombarded YouTube with messages. It was trending on Twitter for days. You know, freedom of speech, reinstate Attwood's channel.
Yep.
He's trying to do good in the world, and thanks to those people, I believe that it was reinstated. But the thing is, Jeff, you would think that if you're exposing people who harm kids, the whole world would be behind you.
Yeah, to be all ears, but no.
But no, dark forces arise to prevent you from speaking out. And we've identified 4 different groups, and we know there's probably a lot more groups. So the 4 different groups we've identified that have come after us are legal teams for people who are, I won't say names, but high up in royalty, high up in politics. I'm just gonna leave that one at that. Legal teams and
Right.
PR teams for those people. They've probably presented the most danger to us. Then you've got hackers. Then you've got trolls. Then you've got people who are in competition with me who are just jumping on top of campaigns against you to try and knock you out, because
Right.
they feel they can take your place. And a lot of the people I've helped actually fall into that 4th category. People I've helped for years, just as they rose up, they got so big on YouTube, egos got big. For F this guy now, we can just stab him in the back.
Yeah.
And try and rise up at his expense. So we've seen that as well. So they're the 4 groups that we've identified, but we suspect there are more groups, you know, foreign groups related to intelligence, shadowy groups that we can't put our finger on. But they're the 4 that we have identified, and the campaigns have been absolutely heinous.
Yeah. Yeah. I talk a lot about cover-ups and different things, and I always say, like, the media is controlled by big banks, big pharma, the oil, and the war machine, and they feed us 80% of our news that we get, and it's pretty disgusting. Now, when you said, I'm not going to ask you to identify anybody, but when you said the first party there, they were the biggest threat. Were there any like physical threats made at you ever throughout this?
Oh, I've had death threats. I've had people show up at my property. I had someone I helped threaten that he was on his way to my property. Yeah, you know, if you're over the target, it's the nature, isn't it, of it, that you're going to get those kind of threats.
Yeah.
And, you know, in Arizona, going through the jail, there's daily violence and stuff like that. So these punks can't intimidate me after I've been through the situations I've been through.
Yeah.
It's water off a duck's back. But I do appreciate the opportunity that YouTube provides. It is life-changing, like you've experienced yourself. They have their rules, and I'm more than happy to play by their rules.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I agree. I mean, I've gotten, like you talk about certain things. I got a not a copyright strike, but it was a community guideline strike or something. And I was just discussing like the Rothschilds and the Jehovah's.
Stay away from anything to do with our family.
Yep. And it was
or
like
anything to do with the country that they're from.
Yep.
Because you will get labeled a certain thing and you will lose your channel.
Yep. And I deleted the video. I was like, I'm all done with that. I'll just keep my mouth shut on that subject and kind of work my way around things.
Yes.
Now you've had a couple of great books out there. One that I'm going to be buying on my Kindle after we speak is the Clinton Bush CIA conspiracy, and I've kind of scanned through a little bit of it on Kindle, and I'm looking forward to reading that. But you've got so many other books out there. You've got cartel books, this Epstein. How do you have time to write all these books and then continue to do all of your shows?
Well, Wildman, God bless him, called me the robot. So, even as I was eating my dinner just before I was speaking to you,
Yeah.
as I was heating my dinner up, I was reviewing an audio book that I'm about to publish for somebody. And then once my dinner was cooked, I started to, I'm eating that, doing a bit of research. So I just try not to waste any time.
Yep.
I just try to make every bit of the day as productive as possible. But that can lead to an unbalanced lifestyle. And when I was in my 20s and I did that, it caused me to melt down. So I have done my yoga today. I've learned not to put so much pressure on me and be so goal orientated, and to just wake up and enjoy the day and just be in the present. And I imagine with you, with your, what's it called again? PNH,
Yep.
PNH. With your PNH, I imagine that's given you a completely philosophical and stoic perspective of life.
I take advantage of every second that I get now. You are an inspiration because I've got 3 audiobooks just from this channel that I've narrated and produced. And I'm working on writing my own book right now, doing another audiobook. So it's just trying to take advantage of as much time as I have,
Jeff, when did they tell you you had 10 years to live?
That was 8 years ago.
And that's because your weight was on a bad
It was like
trajectory.
113, yep.
So now that your weight is back up, have they revised that?
My doctor hasn't really said anything. He just said, keep doing what you're doing. And as long as you feel good, we feel good. I have a lot of issues with my neuropathy. I have really bad neuropathy in my legs.
What does that mean, Jeff? I don't know what that means.
Neuropathy is nerve damage in your legs. So I have a hard time walking some days and stuff like that, which sucks because I like to go outside and do some hiking and, take my camera with me and do videos out there.
And you're a single dad of 2 kids, so you got to move around a lot.
Yeah. So, I just got notification that I've got about 10 more minutes left with you on my Zoom call for some reason. Because I have Zoom Basic. So, I'll just ask a couple more questions if that's all right.
Go for it, Jeff. Yeah.
So, during the search for the truth, you've had faced pushbacks. Now, you'd mentioned Attwood Unleashed. I'm a huge fan of that. Why? Because you discuss everything from secret society to Bigfoot to UFOs. What got you from here to here?
One word: Ash.
Yes. He's a great addition to you guys.
I'm the kind of person, Jeff, that people don't come in and out of my life. I keep the same people around. The people I'm working with, I stay in loyal, very well bonded relationships with them, for as long as it lasts. I don't terminate these relationships. Same with my friendships. I'm a friend for life with people, and I feel blessed again because I've got such a fantastic team of people around me, working with me. We support each other. We go through the ups and downs together. And Ash, he's unique.
Yeah,
he's unique. He's working out of a different continent in the Philippines on a completely different time zone. He's up in the middle of the night moderating Attwood Unleashed, our 4-hour weekly live stream. And it's Ash who has encouraged me to branch out into the more thought-provoking, eclectic, esoteric range of subjects and guests versus our perennial true crime podcasts, and the clips and the regular stuff we put out in that genre. And I've got to say, I used to really enjoy listening to Art Bell Coast to Coast.
Yes.
When I was in Sheriff Joe's jail on my little headset. I think that's where I first heard David Icke speak, was on that actually. And I feel it's a great vibe, isn't it? To have
it is.
It's like Bigfoot, UFOs in one show. It's fascinating.
You can tell that you like it because you're very lack of a better word, very studious or in tune when you're doing your true podcast, your true crime podcast. But when you're doing Attwood Unleashed, you're just a whole different. You're kind of you've unleashed really, and it's great. I love it. It was a welcome part of the show, and
Thanks, Jeff.
you're welcome. I love it. I mean,
And I learned so much from speaking to these variety of people. And the thing is, we get people on that have got different viewpoints from us.
yeah,
And sometimes some of the viewers are like, sometimes the viewers think if you have someone on, you're endorsing that viewpoint, which is not the case. The only way you can learn, and the best way to learn, is for people that you don't agree with.
right. Yeah, exactly. I've met some of the greatest people that I don't disagree, that I disagree with, but I'll have a great conversation after the interview, and it's really fun YouTube's really, I've met so many great people, and it's been a life changer for me. So, I want to talk to you for a few minutes after the interview, so I'm gonna kind of end the interview now. Shaun, it was great to have you on. I appreciate. I guess we just got muted. Hang on one second. Yeah, okay. So, is there anything that you'd like to
I lost your audio though. Yeah, keep going.
Is there anything that you'd like to say before we end this?
No, Jeff, but I want to send some people over to your channel. So if you want, after you've put this up on your channel, if you want me to repost it to mine,
Yeah.
I could repost it to mine and then have a link below the video telling people to go and subscribe to your channel and check your channel out.
All your links are going to be in my description below. I had made an announcement that I was going to be interviewing with you, and a lot of people are like, "Oh my God, I love Shaun Attwood." Yeah. So it was wonderful having you on, and thank you again. I want to talk to you for a minute after, but thanks again, and it means a million to me.
Thank you, Jeff. Let's do more collaborations.
Absolutely. And maybe next time I won't be so nervous. I'm starstruck, if you know what I mean.
You're the one with the miracle story, brother.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Wow. I was definitely kind of fan struck right there. Like I said, he is someone that I've looked up to with his interviewing skills, which I'm still trying to hone. But his journalistic skills is just amazing. He really digs deep into finding the truth on things, and I think that's what really matters. A lot of people are going to be like, well, this isn't cryptid related and this and that. Well, it isn't. But like he said, huge fan of Art Bell from Coast to Coast, and Attwood Unleashed, where him and his co-host Ash discuss Bigfoot, secret societies, UFOs, just a variety of different things that kind of fall in the category of paranormal and things that I enjoy. And I really I had a blast talking with Shaun. I really am looking forward to working more with him, and really discussing these strange attacks on people throughout the U.S. He was fascinated by that, and I've been doing it for, well, God, since 2020. So I've been doing it for a while now, and I just want to get the answers. And to me, that's the most important thing. The strangeness of these animal attacks. Here's something that I really was talking to somebody who is a non-believer. They're not even skeptical. They're just a non-believer of anything paranormal. And I said, okay, and I laid out the Brenda Hamilton case, the Christopher Whiteley, Corey Godsey, all of the cases. I just put it right there on his lap. And I said, okay, take Bigfoot, take Dogman, take werewolf out of the equation, right? I said you've got these strange attacks. You've got these attacks that don't make any sense. And then you've got the media painting the picture with the paint the local, state, and federal government gives them to paint that picture one way, the way that we see it, which the media is run by big bank, big pharma, big oil, and the military. Well, not the military, but the military war machine. And you've got a conspiracy, you've got a cover up, you've got whatever you want to call it. So you take those three out and you've got these strange attacks, these strange bodies being found, this, no answers, and you've got a cover up. Well, what are they covering up? That's the question. If you take these three out, you're not going to cover up a bear attack. You're not going to cover up a wolf attack. You're not going to cover up, a serial killer. You're not going to cover up this, and that. You're covering something up, and it really doesn't make sense. So that's why you have to kind of really honestly take those out of the equation and look at it that way, and then put them back in the equation because that's where they belong. So, just a great guy. I think I'm more of a fan now than I was an hour ago. And I was a huge fan of Shaun's. Like, when he was telling us the story, I wanted to butt in a couple of times because I know the stories. Because I have been following him for a long time. And, now that I've got to meet him, it was incredible. So I really hope you guys enjoyed today's upload as much as I enjoyed bringing it to you. And, hopefully we can get these answers that we need, I just, wow. So anyway, I'm going to end the upload with that, with a big smile on my face. I'm going to thank everybody and thank Shaun. Thank you so much for coming on today. And thank you guys for all of your support. And it really does mean the world to me. With that, may the Great Spirit watch over us all, and may He guide us down that path that we call life.